Alrighty. Hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle here. Doing an under the microscope video. The last one I done was like 2 or 3 months ago on Austin Aries. You can watch all of my under the microscope videos on my playlist titled Under the Microscope, and which is a series of what I do is take a look and kind of give my thoughts on current wrestling talent from TNA, WWE, Ring of Honor, and maybe occasionally other wrestling indie promotions, but not as much since the only thing a lot of people know when it comes to professional wrestling is TNA, WWE, and maybe occasionally Ring of Honor. So this one I wanted to do. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in this generation. Not just this generation, but for a long time. And that is Jeffrey Nero Hardy, or Jeff Hardy. I've enjoyed Jeff Hardy's work since he came in. With his brother Matt, Team Extreme, or the Hardy Boys, is whatever you want to refer to them as. Hardy's one of the greatest tag teams of all time, having phenomenal matches with the Dudleys and Edge and Christian, to eventually Jeff, breaking off solo and becoming a multi-light heavyweight, intercontinental, and hardcore champion, to eventually becoming a two-time world heavyweight and one-time WWE champion in WWE. I think, for lots of the people say about Jeff Hardy, some stuff I think, is true, but, I'm still a fan of Jeff Hardy. My personal opinion, I strongly believe, the thing is that people always say who could be the next face of the WWE, this, that, and all the other. This is just my opinion. I strongly believe that back in 2009, when Jeff Hardy had a rocket up his behind, and he was just so over and so extremely hot, I strongly believe Jeff Hardy could have been a threat to John Cena's position as being the face of the company. That's just my personal belief there. If not being a threat to be the next face of the company, he would have at least been at the position where CM Punk is at now. And I strongly believe that if Jeff Hardy would have stayed in WWE and his momentum just kept going, just kept rising to the top, he would have been at the position where CM Punk's at now, where being the number 2 guy in the overall company after Cena. Jeff Hardy is for a lot of, I don't think Jeff Hardy gets enough credit for being, a really good wrestler that he is. Yeah, he's a high flyer, he's dangerous and stuff, but he could really work his butt off too, in a technical wrestling caliber match. I mean, you look at the matches he's had with Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, John Cena, Triple H, Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, Anderson, Mr. Anderson, John Morrison, Umaga. I mean, all these guys, different styles, different CM Punk. All these guys are different styles, shapes, and sizes, and he's had good matches with pretty much every single one of them. I can't really think of a bad match that Jeff Hardy's had one-on-one with an opponent that I have not enjoyed. I think he's a really good wrestler, which I don't think he gets enough credit for. And also, too, Jeff Hardy is, like I said, I think he still draws. I think in terms of, when it comes to wrestling, the active wrestlers in TNA roster right now, I still think Jeff Hardy draws the most money in merchandise and sales for TNA wrestling. Because the guy, he's just still that popular. And even though Jeff has done some screw-ups with the drugs and those things, kids still love him, women still adore him, guys still think he's cool. I've always liked Jeff. To me, Jeff Hardy kind of reminds me of like the new, well, not new, but he reminds me a little bit like Raven, a little bit. Raven from old school ECW when Raven was in his prime, where they're the kind of guys that are just like, if there's a group of people all getting together and they're laughing and chatting and having a couple of drinks, Jeff is like the weird dude in the back of the corner, in his own world, wrapped around in his own thing. That's what Jeff reminds me of. He kind of reminds me of like the weird cool guy that's at the back of the room that's not interacting with the group and everyone else. He's just in his own world and rocking to the beats of his own drum. And I like that with Jeff Hardy. I will say this: I do think Jeff Hardy is not the most reliable wrestler in the world. One, like I said, if you look at his, some of his personal things he's gone through, getting high, literally being high on TNA at their last pay-per-view, a few years ago, costing that company just pretty much money, reputation, costing them fans. I mean, just so many things. Just that one incident on that pay-per-view. Jeff just, wow. And then even the stuff in WWE, he got 2 strikes, and was almost close to getting his third, but he pulled out just in time. So, despite all those things, I don't think Jeff's the most reliable source. But he still is popular. And I wouldn't call Jeff probably the greatest world champion either, but that's because you look at his title reigns; they've been crappy. Although I do think his title run in TNA was much better in WWE. Well, his first reign as TNA champion much better, because when he first won the WWE championship, he only had it for like 5 weeks. Then when he had the world title, he had it for like 5 minutes. Then when he won it back, he lost it that following month, which is like 4.5 weeks later, right back to CM Punk. So his world title reigns in WWE haven't been that great. As far as TNA, his first reign, it at least lasted, for 3.5 months. His second was terrible, lasting 2.5 weeks, losing it to Sting. But I do give TNA credit though for since he's come back and he's apologized and everything else, that they haven't skyrocketed him right back to the top in the same position that he was at before he left. I guess you can say, humbled Jeff Hardy and having him to start work his way back up to the top. And it wouldn't surprise me to predict if by the end of the year or maybe sometime going into next year, if Jeff Hardy becomes world champion again. That wouldn't surprise me if it does happen. My only concern would be is, he needs to stay, should TNA trust him again and being the world champion and being the guy, he needs to really be on the up and up, stay on the right path, and really just give it his all in a good way. Like I said, I feel like Jeff Hardy, like I said, my only concern is that with all the screw-ups that he does do and all the apologies that he does give, and fans have forgiven him, I've forgiven him, or whatever, but I just think when you just do multiple mistakes in the wrestling business, you continue to ask, for every mistake you make, you continue to ask for forgiveness. I don't know how many people would end up continuing to forgive Jeff if he keeps, crapping, keep messing himself over. I don't know how many people can forgive him if he keeps that up. So hopefully this time around, Jeff, hopefully he means what he says. I do believe one day Jeff Hardy will come back to the WWE. He's on his second strike. He did say before he leaves that he would come back, once everything is cool and settled. My only concern is this, though, and even said in his DVD that when he left, a lot of people thought that he was kind of crazy, but it felt right to him to leave, while he was at the top of the mountain, which I can understand. Leave while you're on top, you'll be remembered more. But the two things I just kind of get mixed with this, that I kind of don't agree with that, because it's like you're so hot right now, and it kind of kills your little bit momentum. And then on top of that, he left WWE on good terms. 2 months after Jeff leaves, he goes and joins TNA and is on their television screen or on their channel, and that January 4th edition of Impact when they went live against Raw. And it was said that WWE officials were shocked when they saw Jeff being on the other side of the fence. So that might kind of hurt Jeff should he come back one last run in WWE. I just think Jeff Hardy is only in TNA because the work schedule and workload is much lighter than WWE, but he still gets paid. Not as much as WWE, but he's made so much money in WWE, he can risk taking, a price cut or deduction in TNA, but yet still work a light, heavy schedule where he could be free to do, other things that he enjoys, because I don't think wrestling is everything to Jeff Hardy. Triple H has said that himself about Jeff in Jeff's documentary. So I think that's why Jeff is really in TNA. So, and then like I said, Jeff only has 2 strikes with the WWE. So I think he kind of played it safe. So when he comes back, it's probably, if Jeff's going to have his one and last run, like one run and he's done, it's going to be with the WWE. I believe Jeff's going to come back. WWE is his home. I just think he's only in TNA for the time being to, like I said, kind of work a lighter schedule, but yet still get paid some pretty good money. Um, yeah, so that's just my opinion on Jeff Hardy. Let me know what you guys think about him. Is he your favorite wrestler? Um, do you still like him, even all the screw ups and things that he's done? And he's a bit controversial. Let me know what you guys think about Jeff Hardy. And also, too, a lot of people also complain about Jeff Hardy turning heel. I want to hit on this really quick, too. I enjoy Jeff Hardy as a heel. To me, when Jeff Hardy turned heel at Bound for Glory 2 years ago, nobody expected it because you had Hardy, Angle, and Anderson in that three-way match. A lot of people thought that it was the way the story was played out. It looked like Anderson was destined to win that championship, and maybe Angle would have been the one to turn on him and join forces with Hogan. But for Jeff to be the third wheel on that, in that Jeff's pretty much the third wheel in that matchup. So for him to be the one to, pull the trigger and turn heel, it got everyone talking in the wrestling community. That got some buzz for TNA, turning Jeff Hardy heel. Because like I said, you think of the way they built that story around those three men, and then like I said, Jeff Hardy was still freaking hot, coming out from WWE a year prior. So it was a good thing. It was cool. A lot of people thought it killed Jeff Hardy, but I think him turning heel, I thought it was cool. Even though the Immortal storyline, Angle, and faction started off great, but ended up falling flat short, I still enjoyed Jeff Hardy as a heel as well as a face. So let me know what you guys think about Jeff Hardy. Leave your thoughts, comments, subscribe. Peace.